Hello everyone. I'm doing the card reading for this coming week of September 20th, starting today through to next Saturday. And I'm just back from an amazing retreat out in Idaho that I'm having a tough time even putting words to how incredible it was, but I really feel like it opened me up in a new way to my gifts that I'm here to bring, and just to offer light to others no matter where they stand in their lives, and knowing that all is well with everybody, how they're doing. And my role is not to fix or to pass judgment or any of that business on anybody. And so I'm coming back to you this week with that very fresh perspective, which I had before, but I have it now in a new way that I feel is very helpful to me and to everybody that I encounter, knowing that everything is just right. So with that, I'm going to get on with the reading. We have a lot of energy this month, a lot coming up, and I don't have the dates in front of me, but towards the end of September, I think it's 27th or 28th of September, there is a lunar eclipse, and the equinox is also coming up, and a blood moon. And again, I'm not an astrologer, but I do feel that these energies are transformative. I think we're all being set up in situations to allow us to clear a lot of things that no longer serve us. And to me, what's happened in my life, and particularly with this retreat, is I feel like I'm getting a whole new direct path. I'm cutting through a lot of junk and just saying, nope, I don't want that, or no, it's going to be like this. I'm making very clear decisions, discernment for myself. So, I encourage that if that feels right to you, but it's going to be individual. But I think it's going to be a big month. We're going to close out, and October, I learned this on the retreat too, October is really the start of our 2016. That is actually when the real calendar year begins. So it only makes sense that we're kind of clearing out a lot of things that don't serve us this month and getting clear on how we want to move forward. And everybody is rising in vibration, whether you realize it or not. I think the vast majority of the population is coming to a new place. So just that's a bit of an overview of kind of what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling that I wanted to offer. So your teams all chose 4 cards for this coming week, and I had them focus on what theme would bring you the most joy if you chose to focus on it in the coming week. And remember, it's always a choice as to what you focus on. I get it that sometimes we need to focus on kind of the negative stuff and I wish this was different or whatever. I know I do that too sometimes, but sometimes I consciously make a choice or a challenge to myself to focus on what is going right and what can bring me more joy and gifts into my life in different areas. So with that said, the first card they chose was from the Magdalene deck, which I love. I love these cards, and it is Liberation. And I love the artwork here. So immediately, and I've not looked at these cards, so just so you know, I'm seeing it fresh with you. So what I notice here immediately is this sort of Native American spirit in the card, and just coming into a place, recognizing this week that you have a bunch of past lives where you have gained much wisdom. And many of these were native in some form of the term, whether they were Native American or native to a land somewhere, and it might not be on Earth either. There's way more to this universe than just this planet. So it's liberating all of those lessons learned, experiences from those past lives is what I'm feeling. And knowing, you can see kind of the fire in her eyes, allowing that wisdom inviting it to come through. Ask for it to come through this week, because as you do, you're going to be surprised at how that brings you a sense of comfort, because you've been through far worse experiences than whatever you're going through now. I feel led to say that. I absolutely feel that when I look at this card, is you have been through the fires already in these past lives. And what culminates is this sense of knowing. This is intuition. This is your third eye. This is a sense of knowing within you that He's already there. And you've already got this in the bag, especially if you believe it to be so. So I'm really calling any of you that picked this card. Your team is just communicating here, like, tap within, ask for that wisdom and that knowledge and that sense of security, and knowing that really everything is good just as it is, and that you got this, because that fire in the eyes is always there. It's just how much do we want to let it show through, okay? So it's a real sense of liberation from the ties that bind us in this life that are really a matter of our perception. Allowing those to kind of be severed, those ties, and to broaden out into the expansiveness of all the wisdom that you have from past lives and beyond. It's the entirety of who you are. So great message there. Then we have this. This is from the Angel Tarot by Doreen Virtue. For any that chose this card, ooh boy, this is a good one. It's the World. And Archangel Michael, she uses the archangels in this deck. He's standing right at the center there, and we have the infinity symbol at the top and at the bottom. I'd never noticed that before. Both sides. So as above, so below. And around here it's tough to see, but it's all the elements of the water, air, earth, and fire. So it's very elemental in its nature. The message on the card itself, in case you know this resonates the most for you, is a job well done, joy, contentment, and gratitude, the path toward enlightenment. So as I'm looking at this card and thinking about that joy theme, what you've been going through recently has brought you, it has shifted your world. It has moved around codes within your individual, your unique energy sphere, the grid that is you here on Earth that's contributing and linked into everybody else. What you've been through has caused this shift, and what I'm being led to, and this especially is coming up because we're moving into that equinox, we're moving into fall. This is the time to sow the seeds that have been planted. It is harvest time. Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps all over me on those words. What I'm noticing is down at the lower part of his figure, look at all of that turbulent energy. And then as it moves up, it goes into his wing area, which is all golden light. And that's the area of, I think it's the air and fire. So it's like down at the bottom is the earth element, and all of the swirling is taking place in the earth plane, the real everyday get her done, that type of energy, the day-to-day stuff that we all deal with. That is where things have been. And now as we move into the equinox, and we're prime time in fall, it's gorgeous here in New Hampshire today, nice chill in the air. Now we're getting into the harvest. And this is where we move up into fire, which is action, is fire in the belly. And air is thought, where we were really driven and motivated by the very strong earth experiences before, and perhaps over the whole of the summer and maybe even a part of the spring. And now we're shifting up into this other place that is much more stable, and it's much more about you owning your thoughts and your feelings and bringing your fire in a good way. You know, fire is a good thing. Bringing that to the forefront in a way that serves your thoughts and your emotions, you know, really tying those two together. So in terms of the joy theme, this is a very long-winded explanation I'm giving here, but as above, so below, I'm still drawn to those infinity symbols. So that earth experience that you have been through recently is very much purposeful in now things getting a bit easier as you go into the fall. And for this week, just calling you to really think about the time that you've been through, perhaps over this summer. Think about that time and see how the turbulence actually helped you to get to a clearer place, perhaps, because the most turbulent times in our lives are actually the very best in terms of allowing us an experience that is unlike others in our time here. So turbulence is very meaningful, and that's the word that keeps coming up when I look at that swirly pattern. It's turbulence. It's things not being quite as smooth as we might like, but it's because you're, you know, literally the codes within your energetic structure are kind of breaking apart, and things are resetting up in a different way as we move into the time of harvest. So really thinking about the not lessons, I don't want to use that word, just the experience of it, and noticing that and realizing that, you know, and taking for granted. I actually want you to take it for granted that things are going to get smoother. That's what I see with this card. So that's what will bring you joy if you picked this card. Or that's what they're encouraging you to focus on. Then we have these gorgeous Way of the Horse cards. And normally I bring my book out with me because the descriptions on these are so beautiful, but I decided to really wing it this time. And this is, okay, it is, I think it's called Dharma's Dance. And kind of the meaning behind the card is dancing between the spirit realm and the earthly plane. So she's very much grounded, you know, knows her place in this world. And the horse, the equines, are very much about spirit, definitely. I know that from my work firsthand. They are actually more spirit than anything else in terms of their energetic makeup. Reading energy like the boss. I mean, they are so good at reading energy. So it's really, you see that swirl between the two. And so the encouragement with this card is to allow the magical things this week to integrate into your life, to allow them to swirl in like this into that earthly experience. It's like walking between the worlds almost, and allowing that magic. And I'm talking, as I say almost every card reading, I say this about the small things, because I think we're looking, when it comes to spirit, we want some big miracle, and we want like total transformation of some huge area in our life, and not that that can't happen, but sometimes you have to just get small with it and really appreciate those things. And so I feel like spirit is kind of knocking on your door this week and saying, I want to show this to you, but I can't show it to you unless you take the time to look for it. So for me, I'm just going to give some personal examples. I see hearts everywhere when I take the time and bring the awareness to it. So on my walk, I will see just hearts in the most unexpected. Sometimes it's the way leaves are shaped together, or just the way I look at them as they're up in the tree. It forms a heart shape. When I was out in Idaho, we were in the middle of these aspens that were gorgeous, and I looked up at this cross point where some rotted trees had come together, and I looked up and there was the perfect heart shape in the sky formed by the trees. And those are signs from Spirit. This is not coincidence that you see these things. And sometimes it is messages on bumper stickers or a billboard or the song on a radio, like the lyrics will just pop out at you. That happened to me before I went to Idaho. I could not stop listening to Rocket Man by Elton John, and it made so much sense when I was at the event. That was Spirit sort of prepping me, like, all right, get your seatbelt on because you're going into another stratosphere here. And it had much more meaning even beyond that. So I just encourage you to bring you joy this week. And I'm like, woo, I'm smiling inside. To bring you joy this week, really pay attention to those really small things. Whatever it is, some people see rainbows out of nowhere. I can't even come up with all of the possible examples. But you know what? There are things that make you smile instantly when you see them. And you're almost like, did I just see that? You're kind of awed, you know? So really pay attention to that, because they're like, that's us. Like, hi, we're here. You know, and I talk about Spirit in terms of it's your higher self, which I know to be a collection of energies that are totally your cheerleading squad in every way. They can help you manifest just about anything if you put your thought and heart into it. That includes spirit guides, angels, your past lives and that wisdom. It includes ascended masters like Jesus, goddesses and gods of the past. And it includes some of your loved ones who have passed on as well, who are absolutely there for you and are cheering you on. So they work together to put these things in place. And again, just if you see something and you're like, did I really just see that? But you have to be aware of it for them to come into your life. Also, some people see coins, any kind of coin, but it tends to be the same type. So sometimes people refer to pennies from heaven. That's an example. Or feathers out of nowhere in the most strange places. You'll just see a feather. I do see that on my walks a lot. A certain bird chirping consistently, or seeing a certain bird or animal. Animal medicine is very important here too. Particularly, I mean, since we have the equine in this card. If you're seeing a certain animal, like when I was out in Idaho, we saw deer everywhere. And deer is gentleness energy. And you can look up meanings for all these animals online. There's so much information for free out there. So if you're seeing a certain animal repeatedly, that too is spirit, just playing with you, having fun. Not playing with you like trying to manipulate you, playing with you to say, we're here. And if you trust in us, we can help you. But sometimes we need to see visual proof, so that's what it is. Okay, I'm so long-winded today. All right, then the messages from your Animal Spirit Guides deck. For those that chose this card, this is the, I never say this right, Pueo, I guess, I'm not sure, Hawaiian owl. Let's give you a look at that card. It says on the card, your ancestral spirit guides are offering you guidance now, so pay close attention to signs and omens from them. This is like exactly the message I just went through for that Way of the Horse card. The fact that they are showing you signs and want you to know that they're there. And so for those that picked this card, I feel like they want you to actually put some brain time, some mind time, heart time into thinking about the fact that you do have a team that is solely devoted to you, and that they are working behind the scenes. That is how things come into our life. And we bring it to form by the thoughts and ideas that we think in order to truly manifest them. So if you look really close at this card, what I'm seeing is all of these forms and shapes that are very faint in the background, and of those, the blues and the greens. And this is how Spirit, our team, works with us, is they're listening, tapped into what our experience is, knowing the reason, the mission that we came for, which is a much broader mission than just whatever you do for work every day. It's much broader than that. And they're sort of creating, options. There's always options and paths that are offered, and you end up taking whatever feels right to you, whatever feels like it's an energetic match for you. And so that's what they're offering with this card in terms of joy, is to really do some thinking on that you have a whole team devoted to you that is doing that sort of work. And everybody does. But for those that pilled or asked for this card, that's what they're doing for you, because you see the owl there. And what I notice is, there are like streams of light. There's, segments of light. But here, approaching the, in the solar plexus, up into the heart area, is solid white, and all of it's just coming together. And the owl is known to be the wise one. All of those strands are coming together to form a fully embodied light body. Like your whether you know it or not, like I said in the beginning, whether you realize it or not, your form is getting lighter by the day. And that's happening without you even realizing it. And that's the way it's supposed to be, because life is going to get a lot easier and more natural for us all, because we're moving more into this sort of divine feminine energy with the shift of the ages into Age of Aquarius. So just know, for those that picked this card, really spend some time thinking about the fact that you do have that team at your disposal, and that things are divinely orchestrated. There are no coincidences. There are many paths that are offered, and there's no one right path. There's no such thing as right. There is just an array of options and paths and experiences that is for you to choose from, like a beautiful palette of colors. Like, oh, I feel like purple today. Tomorrow I might feel like green. And it's okay. There's no wrong answer. There's nothing to fix. It's all divinely planned. But the options are given to you so that you can use your free will to make the choice. So, sorry for the long video, but I felt like I really wanted to expand on those this week, because I really want you to feel the joy. It might be a heavy statement to say, but I really feel like we could all benefit from experiencing joy mindfully more often, making the choice for joy over suffering, because it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. And as you experience more joy, then we all experience that. This is what I learned in Idaho in a really profound way, is all of us truly are interconnected, sort of like puzzle pieces that come together in the perfect way. And we all help each other the more high vibe that we are, and making the choice to be high vibe. That's your choice. So if you feel the calling to do it this week, I challenge you to find the JOY every day, according to the theme of the card that you chose for this week. So until next week, find joy in every moment.